Sarah learns about the importance of artifacts, photographs, documents, and interviews by Brianna Gonzalez.
And Linda Garcia.
While in class one day, Sarah's teacher was discussing the different ways you can trace a family's history through the use of primary and secondary sources. Sarah was sad because she wasn't sure what tracing was or a family's history. Sarah thought that it would be a great idea to ask more questions. Sarah's teacher told her that she would love to help her understand the different ways you can trace a family's history. Her teacher, Mrs. Gonzalez, told her that there are many sources you can use to trace a family's history. Ms. Gonzalez wrote down the different sources you can use to trace the history of a family. There are photographs, artifacts, documents, and even interviews.
Ms. Gonzalez started to explain the four different sources you are able to use to trace the history of a family. She starts off with the artifacts. Artifacts are objects that are made and used by humans. Artifacts give us information about life in the past.
Next, we have photographs. Photographs are photos that are created by using a camera. Photographs create memories that we can look back on. We are able to trace a family's history with photographs by looking back at them. Also, Ms. Gonzalez brings up documents. Documents are an important part and a source while tracing a family's history. A document is a printed or written paper that gives you information about something. An example of a document would be like a family tree. A family tree is a chart that shows everyone in a family from the past to now.
Ms. Gonzalez finishes up her last example with the importance of interviews while tracing the history of a family. She explains how interviewing family members can help you save precious stories and memories from the past. An interview is where people talk to each other in order to ask questions and get information. This is important because there are many unanswered questions from historic times. This is another great way to trace the history of a family. You are able to ask different questions to get different answers from the past.
Sarah says she's interested in interviewing her grandparents because she feels that they'll be a great help of tracing the history of their family. They'll be able to answer all of her questions of their family history. Ms. Gonzalez tells her that's a great idea. She then proceeds to explain the sources. After Mrs. Gonzalez explains the importance of the primary and secondary sources, Sarah gets a little excited because she now knows how to trace the history of a family through the use of primary and secondary sources. Sarah is so excited. She decides to go home and try it herself. She wants to learn more about her family and others through the use of these primary and secondary sources. She even asks Miss Gonzalez if they can do a project on this so that they can share with each other.
Created using Powtoon.